what's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining us for another episode of our podcast. I'm Les.
And I'm Mo.
And this is the Les and Mo Show. What is happening, everyone? Welcome to episode 9. I hope all of you are out there doing well. Today, we are going to be talking about a secret fraternity that is home to many, many famous and powerful people. We are talking about the Skull and Bones Society of Yale University.
Yes, this is a really good episode.
I'm excited.
I mean, this really gets you thinking about, secret societies and how much they really do in the background.
Yeah, I mean, and this isn't the only one, guys. There's a lot of other college secret societies, fraternities, sororities, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of them. And Yale has multiple.
I believe some of them are connected, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. Mm-hmm. But, this is going to be a really cool episode. A lot of stories from history with this one. Wondering about if the elite are really recruiting for the next generation. So let's dive into the Skull and Bones. So the Skull and Bones Secret Society started in 1832 at Yale University, and it was founded by William Huntington Russell and Alphonso Taft. So Taft would actually go on to be the Attorney General, and he would hold other notable positions in politics. He worked under President Ulysses S. Grant, and he was also the father of President William Howard Taft. Russell would start an organization with Daniel Coit Gilman, where they would manage the society's assets. It is called the Russell Trust Association. When the fraternity was founded, it was referred to as the Order of the Skull and Bones. Other names have been the Order, Skull and Bones, Order 322, and the Brotherhood of Death.
So just right away, you're starting out with two pretty heavy hitters, like the father of President Taft. So that's crazy right there. And he was powerful himself. He worked for President Grant, and he was a really prominent political figure. So two pretty powerful men starting the society out.
And I also wonder what's with all the dark theme, right? Skull and Bones, the Brotherhood of Death. So it's just with the name, the Order as well, the Order of the Skull and Bones. Just a lot of weird names that they pick.
It's like they're trying to add this like element of mystery and surprise and suspicion.
It's obviously not a normal fraternity at a college. It's not like a Greek themed or at all, so
Delta Kappa Pi, like it's the Skull and Bones. Like what? So each spring during Yale's official tap day, Skull and Bones selects 15 members to join. It used to be like a boys club, an all boys club, and then in the 1990s they started introducing women into the society. And it's actually really funny because when this idea became about to let women start joining, there were members that were against the idea and members that were for it, and one of them even got a temporary restraining order on the change of the bylaws so that they couldn't just like let women in without it being approved. So it was interesting that they had to fight to let women into the club. So anyways, the Skull and Bones usually recruits members that they see to be like campus leaders and those who are like desirable figures. So like Mo said, they referred to themselves as the Order 322, and in their logo you can see a skull and a crossbones as well as the number 322 below it. It's said that their obsession with 322 comes from the date 322 BCE, and that they measure their years from that year instead of following the traditionally used system that's in place today. So basically, they ignore the calendar that we use, and they use a whole separate system. The members even function to a different clock than what we function to. So they run 5 minutes behind what our clocks run at. So if it's 3:55 here, it's 3:50 for them. So I don't know. Does that just mean that they're automatically like late for parties and late for class? And do they get excused because of that? Because, oh, I'm a skull and bone, so I just run 5 minutes behind. Sorry. Like,
Or are they just 15 minutes early to everything?
I guess that could be the that could be the situation also.
The Skull and Bones have two known facilities that they function out of. One is called the Tomb and is located on Yale University's campus. The structure was built in three different phases. The first wing was built in 1856 and the second was built in 1903. The towers in the back that created a private garden area were designed by Evarts Tracy and Edgerton Swarthout in 1912. Gosh, those names, man.
It's a hard one.
Edwards was actually a former bonesman, and his great-grandfather was a bonesman as well. The bonesmen also have an island they refer to as Deer Island. Deer Island is situated on the Lawrence River in Alexandria, New York. It's right on the U.S. and Canada border, and it can even be seen from the Canadian side. Deer Island was purchased by the bonesmen shortly before 1949, although the exact date is unknown. It is 50 acres with a cabin located on the southern corner of the island. The cabin is called The Outlook. It was built from stone and had wooden structure on top, making the upstairs floors of the home. It was elaborate with tennis courts and beautiful flowers and trees making up its landscape. It contained 15 rooms and held countless antiques and priceless possessions until a fire in 1940 burnt it and all its contents to the ground. Today, the once elegant island only contains stone structures that were lost in the fire. Bonesmen are still required to visit the island till this day.
That kind of makes me so sad, like the history and antique lover that I am inside. Like, that cabin, house, whatever you want to call it, was probably so cool. And you can see, like, the pictures, of it before it burnt down, and it was beautiful. And like, I can only imagine the incredible antiques and stuff that they had in that house, and it's all gone. Like, and they don't even take care of it to this day. It's just like a shell of a building. Like,
to me, it sounds like a place where they all went to and partied.
Oh, I'm sure, and did
that's why no one is really keeping up with it. And yeah, it sounds like a big cabin in the middle of an island that they all went to and just partied.
But if you're still going to make your members go every year, then why are you not making it a retreat house again? And please don't tell me that they don't have enough money, because they rake in millions every year.
Because they're probably going to break it all down and burn it.
And use it in a ritual.
I wouldn't be surprised if the fire was an arson.
Started by them?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, that'd be something, but it's just sad, like when you have something that elaborate that your founding fathers like left to you, why would you not take care of it? But let's talk about some of the famous bonesmen and what kind of recruits they are looking for. So it's said that they would look for campus leaders and those of great stature. People who would later go on into positions of power is basically what they wanted. So women and minorities, though, were not allowed into the group for the majority of the society's history. Mostly, they were looking for, like, white Protestant men. How boring. So, this author, Alexandra Robbins, wrote a book on Skull and Bones and detailed it pretty heavily. She got interviews with people you would be surprised she got interviews with. But one of the interviewees, he did not want to be named, ended up stating that if the society had a good year, this is what the ideal group will consist of: a football player captain, a chairman of the Yale Daily News, a conspicuous radical, a whiff and poof, a swimming captain, a notorious drunk with a 94 average IQ, a filmmaker, a political columnist, a religious group leader, a chairman of the Lit, a foreigner, a ladies' man with 2 motorcycles, an ex-serviceman, a African American, and if there are enough to go around, a guy nobody else in the group had ever heard of. So, I mean,
He's messing with her on this.
I think like that's silly. Like maybe some of it is kind of accurate, like a football captain. Okay, I can see that. Like, you
a
know,
notorious drunk with a 94 average.
well, maybe they needed, every group has that one dude,
Leader.
that one guy who can chug a 12 pack of beer before somebody can finish one can. Like,
they're looking for leaders in each group that would potentially go out after college and be leaders something in real life.
Yeah, be something, like make a name for themselves, even if it's in
their
like,
industry.
Yeah, and even if it's in like, I guess this drunk dude with a 94 average IQ is just going to be like entertainment value later on. I don't know, but yeah, it definitely seems like he screwed around with her with that quote. But the Skulls went as far as hardly ever letting Catholics join, and they never let anyone of the Jewish faith join. But by the 1950s, that all changed, and the Bones eventually let any faith or ethnicity into the group, but women were still not invited until 1992. That's BS. But some of their notable members include George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, and their father/grandfather, Prescott Bush, who was actually rumored to have stolen the skull of Geronimo from his grave in order to display it in the tomb. Other members that are pretty notable would be like John Kerry, who was the senator, Time magazine founder Henry Lucci, William Washburn, he's a senator of Massachusetts, and CIA agents and even more powerful figures throughout the United States.
And George H.W. Bush used to be Bush used to be the director of the CIA as well.
Yeah, so there's conspiracy theories with that too.
Yeah, they feed into the CIA almost like, majority of them go into the CIA. So
yeah, I think a lot of them probably do, and they have a big part in that.
Yeah, so I mean that honestly gets you thinking, right? Like, how are they? Like, are they that well connected that just like, if you're a part of the Skull and Bones, like you're bound to be this powerful figure in the real world, after college. Like, that's so crazy.
Is that part of the agreement, like when you get tapped or whatever they call it, like you just know that you're going to go on to be something powerful, and like, do you have an advantage to get in if your father or grandfather or whoever
so like
was there?
In college though, they have different schools, right? Like a school of business or a fraternity. Obviously that school of business or a fraternity has a very long history.
Yeah.
So they have a history of people that have already been powerful. So as these kids come and go through this fraternity, they're already connected with these people that are already powerful in the real world.
Connections.
So that's what happens. Like, it's a network.
It's all about who you know.
Yeah. So
and that's true with any aspect of it. You gotta, if you have connections, you're more likely to get.
That's what I'm. Yeah,
where you
exactly.
need to go.
It's like a LinkedIn, but for the elite.
Oh my God, the original LinkedIn, Skull and Bones Society. Oh my God.
The Bonesmen are known around Yale to participate in what's called crooking. Crooking is where they steal items from around campus from other secret societies at Yale. They always try to one-up each other with their items. Items thought to be crooked from outside campuses are the skulls of Geronimo, Martin Van Buren, and Pancho Villa. Although the Bones never confessed to actually stealing the skull and femur of Geronimo, in a letter from one Bonesman to another, it is stated that, in quote, "The skull of the worthy Geronimo the Terrible, exhumed from its tomb at Fort Sill by your club, is now safe inside the tomb, together with his well-worn femur, bit, and saddle horn." End quote. It has been proven that the rumors of having the skull of Van Buren and Villa are false, but the Geronimo rumor seems to hold a lot of weight, considering that there is in fact a skull in the hallway in the tomb. There are a lot of conspiracies surrounding the Skull and Bone Society. Since they've inducted numerous CIA agents, there is speculation that they actually run the agency and determine who's a good fit for it, and that fits their agenda. Other conspiracies say that the society is part of it, if not the branch of the Illuminati, which would make sense since they tend to recruit powerful people. Although these rumors can't be confirmed, there is a lot of reason to believe in them considering the amount of secrecy and the supposed ritual that go on behind closed doors.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy that they wouldn't be involved in a lot of this stuff, from the CIA to the Illuminati to even having probably control over the presidencies
I
as
mean, it
well.
makes sense, right? Because the whole point of the Skull and Bones is this connection, this network.
Yeah.
If they're having people go into the CIA and some of them graduate and go on to be part of the Illuminati, it makes sense that they have some sort of connection with the two entities.
Well, and just thinking about the other members, we've got like the CEO of FedEx.
Oh, yeah.
So he controls a big portion of our mailing systems.
Transportation.
Then, yes, we have also there was a member who founded the NAACP or NCAA. NCAA.
What the hell
I'm so
is
sorry.
NAACP?
I'm sorry. You don't know what it is?
No.
The NAACP? Oh my God. We're going to have to talk after the episode. The NCAA.
Yeah, so this guy, Walter Camp, was also part of the cult, and he was the father of American football. He played in basically the first football game ever in 1876 with Yale and Harvard when they played, and they basically they used the influence of rugby, and he played rugby back in the day. So
yeah,
and then he created the NCAA, which is still around till this day. I mean, that's crazy. So.
But then that's sports, okay?
Yeah.
And then you have presidents, okay? So that's the presidency. There's hedge fund founders and
Blackstone.
CEOs, yes, that are involved. So you've got like really prominent people covering a lot of things that have to do with the daily lives of regular citizens. So we know that the Illuminati is all about control, because we talked about that a lot the last episode. But is this even more proof that they are a piece of the Illuminati, a branch of it, like you said?
Yeah.
I mean, would make sense to me, for sure.
Yeah, they obviously went around with a purpose where they selected people in each category to make sure that they had some sort of say.
Yeah.
Once, that person was big in the world, so.
Well, let's talk about their, like, rituals and hazing and stuff, too. Like, there's reports that, there's that coffin in one of the rooms, and you have to go in the coffin and lay there and say, like, your deepest, darkest secret. And
yeah,
they, like, hold on to that for, like, blackmail.
So, actually, with that, I've heard that you get naked.
Oh.
And you lay on top of the table, or if it's a coffin, whatever it is, and then I believe you're recorded.
Oh, Lord.
And then you say all these deep secrets. And
wow. And see, that's like, they're just doing shit to hold it over your head, Like, if you probably come out and tell the story of what they do behind closed doors and crap like that, then they use it against you, like...
100%.
Yeah.
They definitely... That's why do you think so many of them are in secrecy? Like, one of them has to... You will, at one point, the secret will come out, but because there's something to it, that would affect them. That's why all of them just keep to themselves, because they don't want their secrets to get out.
Yeah. One of my favorite things with interviews about the Skull and Bones, when people are asking Bonesmen, was when George Bush and John Kerry were running for presidency against each other. They were interviewed separately, and both of them were asked, like, hey, what can you tell us about Skull and Bones? And, Bush makes the comment, like, oh, I mean, I can't talk about that. It's a secret, it's so secret that I can't tell you about it. And then, John Kerry kind of makes the same comment. Other Bonesmen have said, hey, do you want me to be gone for good? And stuff like that. Like, they definitely, there's such like mysterious element surrounding this, and I just want to know more. I want to sneak in there like this reporter did. There was a reporter who kind of snuck in with these like rival secret society members. Like, they like took all these cameras and stuff, and it says that they basically, what they're saying in here was there's a wall in the tomb, and it doesn't have like priceless artworks that they've stolen from campus and stuff. It literally has stolen license plates. And then they're saying also in this article that their like rituals included like getting this really, like, I'm just gonna say it, she's like a prostitute woman to go on Broadway and solicit senior citizens to play, and I quote, the penis and vagina game. Like, they do, he's saying that they got them on camera doing stuff like that versus doing these sketchy, like, satanic rituals. So, like, they're, like, getting old ladies. It sounds like something some drunk bros would do on a random Friday night.
To me, it sounds like, honestly, they're doing some fraternity shit that, like, normal fraternities do, but they make it seem all secret and mysterious to mess with everyone.
That's my whole thing, too. That's what I was kind of trying to say at the beginning of this, and I was like, well, shoot, let's get through this before I make a final assumption. But, yeah, I think that these founding fathers or whatever of this society were just like, they had certain intentions going about it, but I think from what we've learned, like, things started to fall apart, and it wasn't this like noble society any longer. They're even, you know, the Deer Island retreat house burnt down and they didn't fix it back up. Like, I think that it's really just become more of a frat versus some like secret society that has satanic like elements to it and stuff like that. Like, I think it's just drunk bros hanging out, doing stupid stuff, and that's about it. Like,
so yeah, I agree with you. I believe that it was probably like that in the past, where it was a lot more structured with like an agenda.
Yeah.
But now with, you know, 21st century, you know, it's probably a lot more lenient. They've started to, you know, they've started tapping women in, different types of people. So the agenda is probably not the same as it was in the 1800s, but I still do believe that they have a big part in a lot of the leadership roles in real life world after college. And some of these members grow up to be powerful people, and they use the power of the Skull and Bone Society to somewhat control them, you know, in real life. But I also do think that, you know, they were some guys having fun at the same time, messing with people, because, you know, everyone did make it a big deal about, oh, who are these? Who is the secret society? What's up with them? Why are they so secret? So
yeah, even the mainstream media has gotten involved, and the Skull and Bones Society has often been depicted in movies and films, like The Skulls. There's a whole series. It's like I think 3 or 4 movies that are about the Skull and Bones Club, and the first one, even like, I think it was Paul Walker and someone else was in the very first movie. But, you know, Seth MacFarlane, of course, with Family Guy, American Dad, all of that, he makes references to it. The show The Good Shepherd has a character who was a Skull and Bone member. Then The Simpsons, of course. And I don't know, man, if this, whatever The Simpsons had to say about Skull and Bones, it probably is true, because they're damn near accurate on everything else. But
The Simpsons is the agenda. Like, you watching that, you'll know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, I swear it's based off that. But many times graduated bonesmen, you know, they've been interviewed and they just haven't said anything, so it's really hard to know what's going on there without any information being divulged by them. But I don't know. The Skull and Bones Secret Society is definitely shrouded in mystery, and they keep so many details hush-hush that, you know, it's hard to speculate with it, you know?
Yes.
So.
And that actually brings us to the end of this episode. Let us know what you guys think. Do you think that the Skull and Bones are just a secret society? that just, happens to have so many powerful members, or, was it just a frat? Like, let us know what you think, or if you know any, if you have any conspiracies that are related to it, comment below and like this video.
The more you know, the less you fear. So tune in next week right back here.